You are going to want to grab a cup of coffee and get comfortable because we are talking books. The book of the moment that I want to dive into right now is actually 3 books as part of one series called Chaos Walking by Patrick Ness. A group of settlers leave their planet to find another one where they can have and establish a better life, a good life. So they finally find one that is suitable for habitation and decide to settle and make a life. What they do not know, however, is that this planet has a shocking effect that they would never have expected. Something in the atmosphere affects every single human male. And the effect of that is that every single male has their thoughts broadcasted. Not only is there a visual depiction of every thought, but it's auditory as well, meaning that every single one around them can see and hear what they're thinking. Can you imagine the chaos that ensues having your deepest, darkest thoughts, every crush that you have, every irritation that you feel, every single thing that comes to mind is seen and heard by everyone around you. Just the thought of that should make you cringe.
This place sucks.
This guy is gorgeous. OMG.
Ugh, you're such an idiot.
Let's talk about the themes of this book. Chaos Walking it's real life. It's like discussing real life issues in the form of fiction. There's so many things that were addressed in this book that it's just awesome. This book brought to light the nature of mankind, humankind, and the fact that it seems that no matter how pure and good something is, that somehow our nature seems to be to find some way to corrupt it, to mess it up, to twist it into something that it was never before, and ultimately ruin things. Now, this is a thought that I have had very often, even in terms of, mankind looking for other places to inhabit, other planets, trying to see if there is a possibility of habitation on some other planet, creating whole living environments on the water, and just exploring wherever else we can go. And I've often thought to myself, somehow we are gonna find a way to mess it up just as much as we've done with what we currently have. This book also addresses our ceaseless desire to control everything, and often things that we were never meant to control. This series by Patrick Ness also had me really taking a deep look at whether people at their very core can change. There have been people in the world who we think are just rotten to their core. There's no good to be found in them. You wonder just, why is someone so wicked? Why is someone so terrible? And the question of whether even those persons who seem to be irredeemable, whether they can truly be transformed and changed. Connected to that, this book also highlights that every single person has the capacity for good. Whether we are naturally bent to being bad people or whatever the case is, every single person has the capacity for good. Chaos Walking also looked at the futility of revenge, how pointless and how futile it is to seek to get back at people just for the sake of getting back at people, and how much living a life and just operating out of revenge really only comes back to bite us later on. It talks about the power of influence. It takes a hard look at the fact that every single one of us has the ability to influence the people and the environment around us. On the other hand, the people and the environment around us also has the ability to influence us, and so it all boils down to who is really more intentional, who is really more determined to be the influencer, and that's what makes the real difference. Okay, so let's do a quick review of the series itself. The world building in this book was great. World building refers to how an author creates the environment, the setting, the actual world in which this whole plot and story takes place. And I believe that this planet existed. I believe that this world truly exists. That's how well he built that world. I lived in it for all 3 books. The characters in this book were well developed. I got to know them. I understood who they were as people, what motivated them. I developed the ability to care about them. I cared about them. I was invested in their story. When they went through difficulties, I felt it. When they were frustrated, I felt it. I understood. I connected with these characters, and that is something that I really do appreciate in a book. I hate when authors don't take the time to develop a character enough that you care about them one way or the other. The storyline or the plot was unique and it was well told. There was drama, there was suspense, there was triumph, there was tragedy, this book had everything in it. Everything that makes a great story, this had it. What I really also appreciated is that each book had a resolution of sorts. I don't like series that can't stand alone. You know, where at the end of the book it's such a high and heavy cliffhanger that you have no idea what happens next, but then you have to wait until you get to the other story to have an idea of what happens next. No, I'm not a fan of that. This book was able to resolve the story enough that you felt a calm, that you felt your adrenaline rush subside and you're okay. But then it left enough hanging that it called you to the other story. You were invested in finding out what else happened next. So yes, they can stand alone, but they connect so well together, and I do appreciate that in a series. So this all boils down to the question, would I recommend Chaos Walking, the entire series by Patrick Ness, to you guys? And the answer is, without a doubt, if I were to rate it, I would give it a 10 out of 10. I also believe that this book, if I recall correctly, there's supposed to be a movie in the making. It might be coming out this year or next year. A movie in the making based on this book. If I were you, I would read the books first, because most of the time, movies never do the books justice. I like to read the books first, and then I can see what the movies have to say after that. So guys, if you are into fictional books, this is a book that I would recommend you go out and try to grab. Chaos Walking, the entire series by Patrick Ness. There is no sponsorship here. I wish somebody would. But this is just coming from a fellow book lover, so let me know if you do read it. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you felt the same way, are there any other themes that stood out to you? Anything that really impacted you as you read this book? Drop them in the comments below. I really want to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. Stay blessed, and I will see you in the next one.